Hello everyone, happy Wednesday indeed. Welcome to TRG 30, the last day of March. And if those here in the UK, my daffodils are proudly displayed in the garden, acknowledging the sun. Great to have you with us. We're coming up to the top of the hour. Jill will be with you shortly. And don't forget, you can submit your questions with the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen, and chat is open live. Feel free to talk to us and your colleagues on today's virtual roundtable. We'll be with you in just a few moments.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to TRG 30, where we're chatting it up already. I'm so pleased to see that TRG 30, where every other week we're talking about bold change for our sector's resilience. And today we're talking about tone and posture. Boy, it was a year ago, almost to the day, our second TRG 30 in 2020 when we talked about tone and posture. Then it was in the context of closures and panic, frankly. And we said, let's check our posture, let's check our tone. Today we're saying the same thing. We're going to talk about it, but in a completely different context. Now in the context of reopening and rejoining with our communities and the celebration of the things that we've tested and learned, and in celebration of live performance, coming back to life. As always, want to cue you up to be thinking about some things as we begin our conversation. First change, are you, as you think about your campaigns and the ways that your posture and tone has shown up, are there incremental changes or maybe even an overhaul that our conversation today compels you to consider? Second, always, we're going to be talking about maintaining collaboration within your organizations. Zoom has flattened us. Our reduced staffs have enabled, I'm choosing that word, enabled us to work together between silos. Now we need to continue that, push the pedal down hard on that. So as it relates to tone and posture, messaging testing. Are you doing that between departments with each other? We're going to talk about training for posture between departments as well. And finally, action for 2021. Language that matches the organization that you want to be, that you know you want to, the ways you want to show up. So when we think about that, we need to think about this, starting here. Values. In fact, make sure your chats are set to share with everyone, because I want to hear and see what are the core values in your organization. What are the core values? Let's start seeing them. And it's okay if you don't know, they aren't widely publicized in your organization. Think about what you bring to the table. What are the values that you bring to the table as you think about rejoining with your community in live performance? You're all being shy. There we go. We work to make everyone feel welcome. What are other values that as you think about, here we go, transparency, sustainability, creativity, collaboration, people first, equity, customer service, inclusivity, artist diverse voices, community enrichment, truth, change, innovation, values, driving community action. I like that. I like that. Keeping theater art attainable for all in our community, boldness. Right. Okay, so keep that coming. Keep that coming. Look at the values that your colleagues and peers are advancing. And then think of your own, think of these, and think of the last piece of direct mail you send, or email, or social post. Think about those things. Did those pieces of communication reflect nimbleness, innovation, and community? Did it reflect gratitude and a sense of humor? I love that. That's a value that we share at TRG, certainly not taking ourselves too seriously. Okay, so here's my second request of you. If you've got in your mind, yeah, I did this email, it was really good actually, or this postcard or this piece of direct mail, copy your peers on it, put it in chat. You can do that anytime that we're together over the next 30 minutes. And in fact, it will tie to an invitation that we're going to make to you in our post TRG 30 follow-up. We're going to be sharing today with you formal examples of the kinds of posture and tone that we see our clients having that are having success and results. But you probably have some too. And at TRG, we'd like to see them and know them. It will help your peers out to share them. So don't be shy. As you think about this content, if you think, I've got something that really exemplifies, I'm proud of that, we're proud of that, drop it in chat so that your colleagues can see it. Great. Thank you, Peter. Your peers will thank you, undoubtedly. Okay. So our language, our tone, our vernacular, it has to reflect these values with precision and intention. In every communication, part of the beauty of this, though, is that there's not one right way. It's got to be right for you, for your organization, your community, the relationship you have in that community. So we are going to look at a few examples, but before we go there, and as you look at the examples that others are posting, let's think about a few things. A few things that always enhance campaigns, but our clients now are seeing particular success with these strategies or postures right now. The first is this: excitement and confidence. You want to bring it. So no shame. I'm sorry, Jill, you weren't able to join us last year. You'll go to the back of the line. No one's going to say it that way, but if that's your posture, I'm going to read that. There's another way to tell the truth with excitement and confidence. Also, no apologies and guilt about what we weren't able to do last year. No, we are going toward a new future, hopefully a new future in a lot of ways that include coming back to live performance. Let's convey excitement and enthusiasm and confidence about that. Consistency. Pick your posture and teach it. Pick your posture and teach it. So it's one thing to write an email that has a posture. It's a whole nother thing if your box office picks up the phone and it doesn't sound like the same posture. Or if I'm visiting online or eventually in person and my front of house or ops staff doesn't have the same posture. We've got to adopt and adapt throughout the institution around a consistent posture. If we do that, people will trust us because we've become their friend, This is such an interesting word at an interesting time. We are friends in our communities. We want to offer that. I don't know if any of you are on Clubhouse, this new, if you are, please put it in text so that I can know about you. Clubhouse is a new way of sharing real-time, live, non-video dialogue around themes. There's a lot of them around creativity, and I happened to be on one that was live with Simon Sinek. Yeah, Howard, thank you. And during his live broadcast just a week ago, he talked about this book, Survival of the Friendliest. Survival of the Friendliest. I haven't read it yet, just picked it up, but the intro leaf says, Darwin wrote about evolutionary fitness, and the idea of fitness has been confused with physical strength, tactical brilliance, and aggression. In fact, these authors argue that what made us evolutionarily fit was a remarkable kind of friendliness, a virtuosic, I love that word, a virtuosic ability to coordinate and communicate with others that allowed us to achieve all the cultural and technical marvels in human history. Survival of the friendliest. We need to offer this friendship too. Will your community want to be your organization's friend? And think about that as you're thinking about your safety protocols, the things that you have to convey. How would you say those things to a friend? And then relatedly, generosity. We have to give it now. People have been generous to us, even though we feel stretched and strapped and last. Our communities have been generous to us. It's time now to, in big ways, be generous back in our offers and invitations. This big-heartedness is what we want to urge you to consider. So I want to get to some of these examples and start, in fact, with this generosity of heart in action. The Omaha Community Playhouse is oozing it. This is a positive, assumptive renewal letter. There's no hiding the refund policy, no extra rules, just a clean, clear invitation to rejoin risk-free. Your happiness is our top priority. In Coventry, in England, the City of Culture, which like the Olympics takes place every 4 years in the UK in a chosen city, the City of Culture is designed to celebrate and invest in arts and culture in that city, to imagine and build impact that is fueled by arts and culture. The City of Culture has just launched a hope-filled, inspiring community building direct mail campaign. It starts with, hey, Cov, that's friendly and exudes friendliness. And then there's this empathy. We know it's been a tough year. We also know resilience is Coventry's middle name. Then inspiration. We want to give voice to all of you that call our city great, and we're going to ask you to share your hopes. And then a promise, if you do that, you will participate in our planning and you'll get to see sneak peeks along the way. Yes, yes, yes to all of this. Springer Opera House in Georgia, on their homepage, puts patrons front and center. This is their homepage. Details are available, not even remotely hidden, about how they are accommodating for and putting safety, the patrons' safety and the patrons' comfort at the center, the top priority. We know this organization over the past 6 months, this team has been working hard to develop a plan to bring live performance back to their corner of Georgia. Call for the patrons. We're not required to do it, but we must do it. I guess we are. Okay, knowing your audience and what they're ready for, also a big part of what makes things successful. Omaha Performing Arts, their community was ready for this extraordinary season. And so because the team knew it, they've got Hamilton and all kinds of Evan Hansen and Mean Girl and Wicked, all of these things. They announced it positively with excitement. And in 3 weeks, they saw a 76% renewal rate. They knew their community was ready to come back. Genuine excitement for the return and key, simple safety messages, icons that create a visual vocabulary about that safety messaging instead of long lists. The folks in Theater Cedar Rapids, they've embraced optimism and hope even through the naming convention of this campaign. They're sort of boiling over with the excitement and enthusiasm. Roar on, they say. Join us online, in person, outside to celebrate the joy and unity, and gifts are up, revenue is up, huge results for this organization. Grant Park Music Festival in Chicago, their stewardship and relationship building began in early 2020. And it has always been beautiful, proactive, direct, and clear. And let's look at some of their tone and posture. We are extremely grateful, they say, for the words of encouragement you have given us. We'd like to update you. And we are a key programming and partner with the programming partner and partner in general with the city of Chicago. And we're developing protocols that help us plan repertoire that will work, that assess staffing and equipment needs. And we deeply appreciate the commitment to this stuff that we both love. Another example from our friends in Calgary, in Alberta, Canada. They showcases their newest program, Opera Labs, everywhere on their website. It reflects their values and enables them to act and communicate during their shuttered time in ways that are rooted in their values and matter now. Our newest program, Opera for the 21st Century, born out of a desire to find adaptive and scalable and sustainable processes to engage artists, to add new stories from diverse voices, values, and things that matter now. And finally, news from the UK, campaigns that are in development now, so we can't show you collateral, from Pitlochry in Scotland, a new program with language and structure that beautifully recreates the live experience in a virtual performance. We'll meet you there, designed by theater makers, leading audio digital technologists, designed so that you can have a world-class at-home theater experience. And our friends in Sheffield, England, who are mounting a membership renewal campaign that says, you are important to us. This is our way. The things that we've created is our way of saying thank you to you for everything, your loyalty, your shared passion. It has meant the world to us. It still asks for a contribution, but it says we're wrapping in benefits that are meant to say thank you. And your support has made sure that we can keep making bold and brilliant theater for everyone. So those are some examples. Your colleagues have given others here. We'll all be clicking on them, sharing them. And as you think about sharing them, think about how you share them internally too. So I'm imagining that most of you have some kind of plan for your written communications and the copy that reflects your intentions, your values, I hope, and you might even have your chin held pretty high. Here's a question. Have you given other parts of your organization the tools that they need to assume the same posture? Your box office, front of house, ops staff, artistic, development, are you sharing the same posture and tone? Teach those teams, give them the toolkit so that they can build their own commensurate posture. This consistency will build stronger relationships in your communication or in your community. So fill up those metaphoric toolkits and share them. And finally, have someone double check your work. Share your copy before it goes to the printer, before it goes. Internally, give it to a friend, give it to colleagues. Make sure that you get some feedback on this tone before you go public with it and it's out there in your community. Okay, so we're checking posture, infusing values into your communications, and then making sure to include these 4 words: enthusiasm, consistency, friendliness, and generosity. I saw one of you say, generosity and kindness are the meta lessons for this time. Boy, do I agree. Our clients are seeing positive results from communications that keep these themes in mind. You will too. And before we go to questions, I've got a couple of tools for your toolbox, you leaders here in this metaphorical room. US-based organizations, we're going to put in the chat right now. Join us for 2 webinars that are designed to share with you how to use the Shuttered Venues Operator Grant to support your relationship building at your organization. Look at Caitlin's post in our chat right there. Register now while you're here and thinking about it, and learn how this kind of grant and support can actually help you support and infrastructure this posture. Also, we are always here through our sector benchmark, free to you. Join the growing momentum of hundreds of global organizations that are getting daily updates about how their patrons are operating, participating in the context of global arts and cultural operations. Free to you, join us now. And as always, we are here, your partners in your own resiliency, in your community relevancy. And Stephen, let's join together, talk with each other, answer questions as they come.
First of all, Jill, where is my Clubhouse invite? I did not know you were hanging out on there.
It's super overwhelming, I will say that, but also interesting to be able to be in a room with Simon Sinek live. That was really a great surprise.
Oh, God, I look forward to talking about it. I just want to say that you will get a copy of the deck after today's TRG 30. So you will get those examples that we've shared with you today. And yeah, there's some great examples in chat. I was clicking through just as we were stepping through there, Jill. Cool. There's a couple of questions around this idea of tone and embracing it in the organization. And the first one I just want to ask Jill, it's come from an anonymous question, is who should own the posture in an organization? Should this copy tone be top down? You said to train the box office and front of house staff, but actually, would you recommend front of house and box office help inform craft the values and posture in collaboration with others? Who should own this?
Well, I mean, the intuitive and I think right answer is that the chief executive and the board should own it. But that doesn't always, depending on that person and that culture, it might not be the first thing that those people, that person thinks of. So if you are in middle management or in management, design it and then push it up and begin a conversation and facilitate a conversation about this posture and say, this is something that needs to spread. Are we in alignment about why it needs to spread? And then with that endorsement and participation, you can begin that kind of training and spreading. I'd just say go up if it hasn't come down.
Okay. Bradley, welcome back, Bradley. He says he finds a disconnect between the posture and voice used to our staff and that which leaders expect staff to convey to patrons on behalf of our organization. In this time when our staff have gone through a lot, furloughs, right, or are paying a price for the long-term survival of our organizations, how can we start to repair and align our posture and voice internally in order to promote consistency and authenticity to our patrons?
Such a great question, Bradley. It's like put your oxygen mask on first. It's kindergarten rules. I've been rereading Simon Sinek's Infinite Game and reminded that the organizations that thrive long-term have great cultures and teams that have extraordinary trust. So you're prompting me to say what is and should be at the heart of all of our operations right now, and that is that we have to start internally first. So you didn't, maybe I'm just going to say what I would do if I was at an organization. Stephen, you work with clients around the globe too, so you will example it maybe, but you know, if you feel like you're operating in a culture where people have been twisted up and kind of thrown, you might use this conversation as an excuse, like, okay, we have to talk about our external posture, CEO. And in order to deliver on that, we've got to have people who can deliver it. And I observe this example, that example, this, I feel this way. And so how can we thought partner about the ways to build back the systems? It's a gross word. What can we do to start to demonstrate our investment in our internal team? I was on Zoom with a client yesterday in Vancouver who said this thing, like, we have got to start within. We've got to start within. Have you experienced that in your consulting?
Yeah, and I think what's interesting at the moment, and it comes a bit to Bradley's point, is that we're in a sense, I feel a sense of another round of tiredness, right? We came back to the new year fresh. And so I wonder what time we're taking. We talk about slack, right? What time are we taking even to have these conversations, and what that would then surface? Bradley's added on here, he's found starting up a conversation can be the hardest part, right?
Yeah, especially if you're on the team. Yeah.
The feedback and the ability to have that conversation and listen. We've talked about listening, right?
Right. If I had a chief exec who appeared to be callous to this point, you know, you wouldn't say it can be hard unless you felt some level of fear in initiating the conversation. And I'm not speaking to you, Bradley, specifically, anybody. Data is useful, you know, if there's a way to get a sense of, you know, on a simple scale of 1 to 5, how inspired I feel. Some simple something that enables that chief exec to see data that says, yeah, wow, okay. And then connect it to that chief exec's success and intention, which is likely associated with organizational success and recovery. This is a TRG 30 episode in its own, but it's the right question to ask for sure.
Asking, you know, experience with clients too, I'm just thinking about the level of unknown that may be continuing to cause hesitation right now. And, you know, you've talked about communicating confidence here. How can we do that when we perhaps don't feel so confident sometimes right now? You know, just before we started, we were talking about the different exit routes our countries are taking out of the pandemic at the moment. And that creates different levels of confidence, right?
Totally. Yeah. This client was in Canada. I have a couple of clients that are Canadian, and the Canadian realities are very different than the States, and certainly certain states within the States, globally. But we talked about this, and I think there absolutely is a way to convey optimism and expectation. Maybe those are good words. Optimism and expectation that we will be returning. And so my posture wants to be, we see evidence, even though in British Columbia, we're facing this particular thing right now. What we see globally are these things. And so our commitment to you as we look to return back to live is to keep you posted, and you'll be the first to know when we are able to open. I mean, you just hear my tone and you see me sit up. That's a different posture than, oh, we don't know, and we might come back at 25 and we're worried. No, our communities need us to inspire them. And even though we don't feel it, comes back to Bradley's point, we need to invest there. We need to convey it so that people will see us, you know, as a beacon of something to look forward to.
Is there a process that we can put in place to help formalize our tone so we're consistent?
Yes, she said. So let's design it right now, Stephen. So let's make it up right now. What would you do, Stephen?
Well, I wonder around actually this point around this external, I'm thinking about some sort of audit, right? Some sort of framework that says, here are the ways that we represent our values in our communications. And when we're asking folks, different folks within our organization to check that out, are there five key promises that we always make sure are consistent in our communications, right? Again, I'm riffing on this.
So if you riff there, and then I would riff and add to say, what are the values that you just listed them? So if you had that kind of audit and you said, on top of that, we're going to overlay our values. Can we get our collective heads around the ways that we want to show up right now during this recovery? Let's not make it all big and weighty, organizational values, deciding new missions and values. What are our values as we think about recovery? What are those words? Like, I can imagine a session where you're ideating and you come up with 3 or 5. And then you put Stephen's process and this one together, and then The next session is about, okay, where are we showing up? Let's just outline over the next 6 months, where are the places where we're going to show up? What are the pieces of communication we need? And you just start to block and tackle it a little bit. The process.
Another process that we could invite.
Potato, potato.
If anyone on the call today wants a gut check of your values against your copy,
yes,
you can email it to us. Let's talk at trgarts.com, and we'll offer anyone on this call a piece of feedback. Send your values through. Send a letter, copy, whatever it is that you're writing. And if you'd like another person to check, one of our team can do that for you. So let's talk at trgarts.com. We'd be happy to have a look and offer you some feedback as an additional cross check and a person to check, perhaps outside of your organization. Does this align with your values? Let's find out and give you that feedback.
Okay.
We're at time.
Stephen, our friend Ben is joining us. And so he's just shared all kinds of things. Now you're all, yes, great, Lenora, thank you. It's just this idea of hearing from you in real time is so cool. So I'm saying hi to Ben, I'm saying hi to Lenora, and you're welcome to Peter and all of you who've contributed. Like, we're in a community here, talking to each other, coaching each other. That's what TRG 30 has become. I'm honored, just delighted to be part of this community with you, Stephen, and you. Thank you for this time. You're going to give us a sign off to be something, say something super inspirational with your gorgeous British accent.
I've got my haircut booked for 2 weeks. How about that?
Oh, I like your wild hair, and have wild hair this week. Have a wild hair, a generous, friendly wild hair in your communications, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another TRG 30.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.